Hello everyone, just a quick message before the Arenacast begins. This was recorded a couple of weeks ago before the NDA lift, so some of the information and some of the topics we discuss might be a little bit outdated, but I think we're still worth a release anyway, and we'll hope to get together soon. Again, myself and Overkill to host another Arenacast in the future with more content that we can discuss, so enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome to the Arenacast, which is a Total War Arena podcast, as you may know, and I am your host, HaxoTheHunter, joined by Overkill Total War, and also
Hello.
our guest, HforHavoc, which is a bit further along.
Hi.
And Havoc actually did the artwork that you can see on screen, so
Sure
it's
did.
very juicy. Anyway, we're going to be talking about what has currently been released or re-released for Total War Arena, what is not under NDA, so we're not going to get slammed in the face, hopefully.
Yep.
So, yeah, we've got a list of topics to discuss and get through them in good time, I think. So, the first one, and obviously the main one that many of you will know, is the first Total War Arena went down on the 1st of March 2016.
Moment of silence,
Which
please.
was a sad time for all of us here. Big fans of Total War Arena, of course. So,
Absolutely.
Well, like I owe all my success on YouTube to Arena, pretty much. Like it was like if I kept going, I probably would have gotten to where I am now, although a lot longer. But like at 500 subscribers, I met Dogbert and he invited me to LA for the Arena event. So
Lucky.
yeah, that was a huge boost. That and Warhammer pretty much were the two big things.
yes, for sure. So we were all noticeably sad, and it
Yes.
took CA quite a while to say anything about the game. It was kind of a big thing at the time that they were quite silent, and people started speculating and worrying what was going on, and then suddenly we found out that Wargaming were publishing Arena with an alliance, the Wargaming Alliance, with CA. It's quite an interesting thing to happen. So we had our first closed alpha test weekend in November of 2016. So it was back up online the same year at the end of November.
Yeah.
So yeah, in hindsight, it felt longer than it was, but it's back in some regard in the closed alpha stage. So we'll probably just mosey on to the Wargaming Alliance in general, because some people might be like, well, what is the Wargaming Alliance, and why is it here? Why is it publishing Arena? What happened? Well, Sega and Wargaming, they've teamed up to publish Arena on the Wargaming platform. And if you're not aware, Wargaming have a lot of history with publishing free-to-play titles. World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Warplanes.
We don't talk about that third one.
We don't talk about the third one, but it's world of games that are generally the same theme as Arena. 10v10 or more, multiplayer battles, and free-to-play.
Trees, upgrades.
Yeah, so very, very in the same family, let's put it that way.
Yep.
So what that has actually done is it's allowed CA to focus more on developing the game, rather than developing the back end, the stability, the multiplayer, the kind of netcode, and all that, which is pretty good. And obviously, Wargaming are handling the publishing, marketing, and community of Arena now. So that's kind of separated out into two halves, development and publishing. So, just say our thoughts then, I guess. So, Overkill, what do you think?
Well, it's great that it's happened, because realistically, the way it was going with just CA handling marketing, publishing, everything, it seemed like Arena could possibly have been canceled. Like, if it just became too much for them to focus on, along with focusing on everything else, it could have been a dud, which it kind of was not turning into, because they were still updating it regularly, but then it just disappeared. So I feel like that was their way to like try to save it from Sega just being like, nah, this is dumb. We're not doing this anymore. But it's also good for just Total War in general, because now look at all the new announcements that we have with the release of Warhammer. They're making multiple games at the same time, like just throwing them out, which is great. And that's a new DLC and everything, which is really good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And Havoc, what about you?
I mean, yeah, I agree. Not bashing CA at all, because I love Total War. Their multiplayer scene isn't exactly the best, so having a platform like Wargaming, who specializes in very large multiplayer battles, which is what everyone wants to see with Total War, being able to take over that and, like you said, do the back end, do all the balancing and things like that, while having CA do the design side, which they're really good at. They have really good, awesome units, really well done, all that kind of stuff. I really think having them, that split, but that alliance really just saved Total War. It was on life support at the end of it, and with this alliance, really brought it back to life.
Yeah, really good points there. I think we're all kind of in agreement of how the Wargaming Alliance has really helped.
I think it is.
And also what they mentioned in a couple of their dev diaries, which is actually where we're getting most of these informations from. So
that's the only NBA related content we can.
Yeah, it's the only safe information.
Stuff that you're gonna kind of know already, but we're just talking about it. It's the first Arena podcast that we're doing, so trying to go through what we know and go on from there. So they mentioned that the Arena team has been growing since the game went down, which obviously straight away is an indication that they're really putting resources and effort into the title. They're not just trying to push it away in the corner.
Right.
So they just rolled off like content creation, artists, animation, audio, character art, gameplay programming, online services, like all these features and parts, cogs in the machine needed to make the great Arena machine run very well. So yeah, shows quite good investment in the title.
Yeah, I think it definitely, I mean, as we've said before, you know, it was kind of dying with CA having to take everything. But with all these dev diary stuff coming out, they're really pumping out a lot of content, like showing a lot of improvement, which definitely shows that it's not dying at all.
Yeah. Moving on to, they also mentioned that they've been improving back-end stability, the deployment, the integration into the Wargaming platform, gameplay refinements like a new UI, new minimap, unit overlays, matchmaking, unit types. It's basically like everything about the game is either being reworked or rebuilt and improved on, which is obviously good things, good times.
Yeah.
That just shows that they have used the time between, was it March and November to just push the envelope, get it out there again.
Yep.
So
very exciting.
Very is, yeah. And also something that was kind of minor mentioned that we haven't really heard anything since is that old closed alpha and beta players will end up with some sort of reward on the final release.
Yes.
So obviously nothing official has been said, but it's kind of common for titles, free-to-play titles, to do this. So what do we think? Havok, do you know what we could get?
I don't know. I kind of think part of me really hopes for like a unique commander that other people wouldn't get, but at the same time, that's a really, really big thing to get. My thoughts are probably more of a unique unit, maybe some different kind of loot options or consumables, maybe even something, I mean, honestly, even something as basic as a lot of experience from the very get-go that you can spend on units, or gold or silver, any of that stuff. Even something as low as that, I think would be pretty sweet.
What do you think?
Just to kind of give you a good head start.
Well, I was honestly thinking probably something like cosmetic, even up to in-game currency / experience. That's what I always think with like free games, because like a unit, if they were gonna make something really, really special, a unit I think would be the biggest that they could go. But even that, I feel, would be a bit too special. I don't know, unless it's one that everybody can get like later on if you pay like a lot. If it's something that they just give you, then yeah, that's fine. But at the same time, then when everybody else starts getting this unit, it's not really special anymore. So
Yeah.
I think like a cosmetic item or something would be.
No, I could see that for sure,
Yeah.
especially because there are
Would be the thing.
customization options for different units. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
like Humble Bundle gave a shield. Being a alpha tester, the original alpha gave you like a helmet or something, didn't it, for different units?
yeah, I think so.
So I could see that being it, pretty
sure.
much.
yeah, I definitely agree. It could be some sort of customization onto your units, so you can like, oh hey look, I'm a veteran of Arena.
Right,
Special.
Check
right.
me out. Check out
Well, yeah,
my
that
new
would be cool
shield.
too if it is something exclusive cosmetically that lets people know you were an alpha
Yeah.
person. Even if it says alpha on a shield or something. Like just something that's like, oh hey, cool, those guys have been around for a while.
Yeah, I think kind of separating units or like a commander would just be unthinkable. Like,
Yeah,
it'd have to be
Absolutely.
something that can be unlocked normally, and maybe we just get it early. Like, something like that could be a better
Yep,
workaround than complete exclusivity, I think.
for sure.
All right. So one interesting point that was mentioned in, I think it was the first Dev Diary, is that they have ambitions to move on to early medieval times,
Yes.
including gunpowder units.
Yes.
Obviously, new factions, commanders, nations, technology on that. So awesome! Like, I would love to see even not just gunpowder units, like full-on naval battles with ships of the line. You can control 3 ships of the line, and yeah, I just
naval battles would be amazing.
do it.
No, well, because I was talking to some people before the closed alpha, or before the alpha closed originally, and someone had done some digging and had seen unit names and stuff for Carthaginian units. Like I think some people had seen samurai, some people had seen war elephants, some people, just things like that. So absolutely more factions besides your typical standard big Roman factions, and then absolutely medieval. I mean, they could go so many ways with it. And I'm super excited for it. Like, I'm unbelievably excited for it.
Yep. What do you think, Overkill? You got any suggestions on our speculations?
Well, I would say for sure, probably one of the first new factions that would come out, I'm hoping, would be Carthage, because that was something that was talked about in the original alpha as like what they wanted to do. But yeah, going into like medieval, even Napoleonics was a factor last year that was talked about. So I don't know. All of those I'd be really happy with, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Obviously,
I don't know that they could put out something that people wouldn't be happy with. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Well, obviously, this is like something that's so far in the future.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to get the core original gameplay there first. Yeah. But all stuff that's like would be awesome. Like either you could progress from ancient to like early modern or whatever times, or you go, all right, I'm gonna play Napoleonic era today. I'm gonna play.
You have different theaters or something.
Medieval, and then like you could switch around, but you need to have a player base that is ridiculously through the roof to even consider doing something like that.
Oh right.
Or else, like, what if your ancient times period got really unpopular because obviously people had moved on? Then it would be difficult.
There would have to be a balance. You'd have to keep people playing all three. Of course, all of us Total War YouTubers having, all of those eras would naturally play it, but you have to get all those other people. You have to get them to stay in the Roman era, but also be able to dig into medieval or Napoleonic and et cetera, et cetera.
And then it's not even getting everybody to play the 3 things. It's that all the different tiers will then also have their own smaller player bases in them.
Right.
So like tier 1 on a unpopular theater won't be played like at all.
Right.
For example, or even up to like tier 3 if we're going off like the world of games. I mean, I know even tier 1 games in World of Tanks it's hard to get.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way before Alpha closed. That's the way it was too. If you had tier 1 on a faction you didn't play much, you were either playing with some tier 5s in that game, or you were just having 4v4s because there was only 4 people available at that time that were at tier 1. So yeah, a lot of balancing will have to be done, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also a major thing that they just announced with a kind of a little bit of a 360 was Boudicca. New commander, obviously.
Yeah.
I would imagine she's going to be put into the barbarians and not as a separate kind of Celtic faction, unless maybe that is going to be a thing where they split Germanic, Celtic, any other barbarian.
It could be,
because there's a lot of barbarians back in the ancient era.
Well, anyone who weren't Romans were considered barbarians.
Exactly.
So
like Iberian, cool. Gaulish, like Baltic, like every barbarian could have a different
for sure
subsection, unless you can have like a long list of barbarians and about this much Romans, and so
for everybody else. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they're planning on doing that, but obviously Boudicca, a bit about her, like not going to do a history lesson here, but she was the queen of the Iceni tribe, obviously in Britain, or East Anglia region, I think is where they're from. And she was the leader of an uprising against the Roman Empire in about AD 60 or 61. So that's her role in history. Yeah, she sacked Londinium, I think it's called.
Then got wrecked by the Romans.
Yeah, just a bit.
Decimated by the Romans. Oh, it's terrible.
But yeah, like obviously we don't know her abilities, we don't know her specialization. Like, what do you think?
Chariots.
What do you think? Overkill. Let's start off with you.
What was that? Sorry. Did you say me?
Yeah. Start off.
Okay. Yes. Hopefully, with her being into the game, we will see chariots brought in with her, because obviously that was a big Britannic thing, was to use light chariots and javelins was like their main thing. She might also be like a more dedicated cavalry barbarian commander, maybe, because of course like Vercingetorix is like infantry kind of berserker kind of play style. Arminius is more like sneaking around, getting around fast,
right?
You know, so maybe she'll be like a chariot cavalry kind of commander, which would be nice, because playing barbarian cavalry was like my favorite thing. So
definitely,
it'll be nice to have someone that gives them a lot more power, where they are the lightest cavalry in the game. It'd be nice if someone made them a bit more beefier and brought chariots into the mix. I'd like that a lot.
Yeah, I think you could definitely have some really good tactics with the chariots, either as a skirmish mode, I imagine, because I mean, just the way they've done a lot of things, you know, you'd probably have your light chariots in the beginning, or at least maybe like at tier 2 or 3, and then at tier 10 you're going to have kind of, I would imagine they would probably put scythe chariots, kind of bypassing historical accuracy, but you know, just for the sake of gameplay. But you could definitely do a lot of cool things. They could tear through units pretty easily and just have that intimidation factor. But yeah, there's a lot of things that they could really do with Boudicca that I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because as you both kind of covered, like you've got Arminius and you've got Vercingetorix. Vercingetorix being the heavy, Arminius being the light infantry, kind of both very infantry focused. I think Arminius has a little bit of cavalry kind of sprinkled in there.
I mean,
he was the cavalry commander, because Vercingetorix
for the
had
barbarians,
nothing for them.
Basically, he has it only, but Boudicca could be a mixture of ranged and cavalry.
Yeah,
like could easily be on that side as well. So obviously a lot of stuff about ambushing Romans and kind of standing against them. Like you got to think about abilities here. Like, is she going to be that much different to Vercingetorix or Arminius? Like vengeance against Rome, like frenzy and kind of
well, I imagine she'll have her berserkers type of units. She'll probably be the lightest on the infantry side, since you have Arminius and Vercingetorix. But, you know, I mean, she did sack London. She did put up a pretty good stand and almost ousted the Romans. So I'd imagine she has at least some sort of abilities against Romans that, at least in her abilities, I would think.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it would be against Romans, but kind of like how...
Like based on that.
Germanicus has got his vengeance, like, kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So Boudicca would have to have something like that prominent for her. So it's something that I think is going to be very interesting to see when she does come out, because I don't think any of us really know what abilities she could have, but maybe focused on
it really, to me,
chariots.
It completely depends on if she gets chariots, because if chariots aren't brought in, I know they will eventually, because like it was a big thing in ancient warfare, of course, but if they're not brought in with her, she's going to have abilities that don't focus on that. And that's what I'm wondering, like, what could they be if not for cavalry and chariots and ranged? And so, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right then, moving on. Also mentioned potential new game modes, which is a big thing if it comes to fruition. Obviously, like what would we like to see, and what do we speculate about that? So, we can start with you, Havoc, for this one.
Well, naturally, King of the Hill. Even a free-for-all kind of scenario, if they could. I doubt they would. But it would be even cooler to see you have, 2 sides of 10 units. Well, why not break it into 4 sides of 5 as a free-for-all or something like that? And then, of course, that goes along with all new maps and things. You're going to have to. I mean, we have our standard Roman city, we have our standard Greek city, we have a forest, we have stuff, but like we've seen Hadrian's Wall, things like that. Really, almost like siege style battles would be kind of cool to bring in as well.
Yeah. How about you, Overkill?
Yeah, well, like the King of the Hill idea, I feel like is a natural. That'd be a good one because I mean, like all the World of games have capture the enemy base or the game mode where there's one in the middle that you have to both focus on. So that's obviously something that I could see them bringing in. But like you said, like you touched on, I think Siege would be amazing because like we talked about this, like with actual equipment that your units could man to actually break through the walls or get over walls, break gates.
Ladders, siege towers.
That is what I'd love to see if possible. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully it wouldn't be a little bit too involved for the free-to-play scene, but a siege game mode where you've got one team attacking and they do have to pull along the rams, the ladders, the siege towers, and they have to get over the walls and into the base. But it might have to be balanced so it's not 10v10, because obviously it'd have an advantage being a defender, especially if your defenders had mostly ranged units. Like they could easily wipe out the attacking forces.
There's different ways you could definitely balance that. Neither side gets to bring in artillery, but there could be artillery on the defending side or something. There could just be random catapults trying to break down the walls or something. There could be ways to balance it, because it would suck to be in a 10v10 all the time and then all of a sudden you get thrown in a siege at a 6v10. I understand the balance and everything, but I think the 10v10 will have to stay. They'll just have to figure out how to balance it.
Yeah, very, very hard. I think
sieges would be very fun.
But yeah, I
would really enjoy siege style.
And also with different kind of game mode things, with Wargaming kind of taking over with that kind of stuff, they do historical events in their other games.
Yes.
So, I mean, not so much with World of Tanks. I think they do it, but like they don't force you to play like certain things. It's like whatever. But like with the new Dunkirk event that Wargaming did with World of Warships, where it was only ships that would have been there against German AI. Like it was vehicles that weren't even in the game that they used for that event. So like
that's cool.
If they did that with Arena, where you could do, like a historical battle can only use Greeks and Romans, can only use Romans and barbarians or something like that.
Right.
I think that'd be pretty really interesting.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
Really good point there. Because you could just have reenactments of Cannae, of L, the major battles,
and
if siege mode. Well, sacking Rome as a barbarian faction, or
or like
burning down
super historical things like the Siege of Alesia, by Caesar and things like that, like where the Romans are having to fight on 2 fronts basically, inside of Alesia and as well as outside. That would be a really interesting thing as well. That would be a cool take on the siege, that kind of thing. You're kind of surrounded and you have to fight off. So
really, really cool.
Yeah,
interesting points.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Well done.
Onto a few unit things, I guess. A bit of a segue. They mentioned that they were redeveloping the unit trees. So obviously in the previous alpha, I won't say messy, but kind of testing the waters, I guess. Obviously they were trying their hardest to get it all working together, but it seems to be that they just want to really nail every portion of the game, which I fully expect them to be able to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, Wargaming the way it is, absolutely. They have some pretty good tech tree styles, and definitely think it'd work out for the best. Just kind of having a more natural navigation rather than it wasn't bad, but like you said, didn't seem like they were 100% knew what they were doing, and they were definitely testing the waters and seeing how things would work.
Yeah, for sure. So, one thing that had just come out today, actually, on a dev diary, we're all like scrambling to watch it and analyze it. That units are now grouping stats into 4 categories: aggression, defense, survivability, and mobility.
Yep.
So initially you might go, oh wait, they got rid of all the stats like melee attack and melee defense. No, that's not the case. It's just that now you can quickly assess.
It's a very general.
Yeah. You can
general look at the stats.
Assess your units compared to other units that you might. Oh, I've got these tier 8 Eagle cohorts. Like, how do they compare to the barbarian tier 8 chosen swordsman? I think, but whatever it is, like you'll be able to compare. Oh, well, I'm more powerful and aggressive, but I'm not as powerful in this. So you can figure out where you want to progress as well.
Yep.
To
well, and again, like they said in the video, you hover over that attack and it breaks everything down. You hover over defense, it breaks everything down. But it's just a good general comparison stat.
But what they actually mentioned as well is like it's now obviously easier to compare units, but it's also like more of the stats that are actually visible in the game. Like it looks like the less stats are visible, but like you said, you hover over and it tells you all the stats that work towards influencing the aggression, like, or defense or mobility. So it's really, really interesting. You can really break down, like, why is this unit better than this other unit, which should be better or the same, or you can really, really focus it. And there'll be a lot of people, when the game comes out, nitpicking away and finding out, like, what units are going to be the best units.
Right.
And obviously when they rebalance it, and it's going to be all work in progress. So all good to see, like, fit stats changing over time. Always good for these titles because it always happens.
Right. Well, it's a good thing just because there are going to be those people who aren't meta heavy. They literally just want to see if this thing has more of an attack than this one unit, instead of seeing melee attack and charge defense and shield block and all that stuff. Just being able to see a general stat and compare it quickly so you can get back into the next battle or just know where you want to go is just, for those of you who aren't super, super like, I need to know every single thing, you can just get some good general stats now, and it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Definitely. And one thing they mentioned as well is that they were trying to focus on at least one unique unit type or playstyle for each faction, which I think is not anything new, but it seems to be like they're trying to really push it. So you saw in the video that there were Folksmen for the Barbarians, which weren't in the previous alpha. They're new units, and they're unique to Barbarians. You don't have Folksmen or any other faction, so it's kind of really, really there. A Folksman being very aggressive, two-handed, not very good defense, so Barbarians even boosting the aggressive style even more, quick in and out. So I really do like the fact that they're trying to make the factions even more unique on top of how unique they are already.
Right.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be very excited to run Vercingetorix and Folksman.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Boudicca, not so much.
No, I don't think she'd have much to offer.
No.
Yeah. And also one thing that they mentioned in that dev diary, the new one, is about friendly fire.
Yes.
Obviously, previously it was quite, well, not difficult to tell you were friendly firing. Like,
it was
being friendly fired on, you were always telling people.
Well, and then there's always the all caps.
Yeah.
You're friendly firing me, you mother.
Yeah, there was a lot of...
That was always your pretty good warning that you were friendly firing. But
assault and aggression from the chat.
It was also bad to end a game with like minus 2,000 points you didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, so now they're literally like almost to the fact of like red alert lights going off, like, you are friendly firing, stop friendly firing. Like, it
there's
does...
an alert at the top of the screen, there's an alert over your unit card, there's an alert going on, like there are red alerts going on everywhere, which is, I think, is really good.
Yeah,
they needed to make it more prominent.
Somewhere where you're looking in the UI, you're going to see that you're causing orange friendly fire damage, or a unit card, or a big banner, or a ping. It's like, it's all it's telling you you're friendly firing.
I think there's at least 3 different ways that they're showing that you're doing friendly fire. So they're like,
good.
I also like how they said that they turned friendly fire off for a while just to see how it worked. And they did a really good point because it takes all of the strategy. If I know I can just shoot arrows into the enemy, regardless of your friendly fire, then it takes a lot of strategy out.
Well, so it also makes them a lot stronger as well. Like if you're not hurting your own units, like huge advantage over the enemy.
Just fire all day and
you get more people using archers, and then you just get a couple of units that have good staying power, and you could just decimate them.
Like put like, let's say like mid-tier thorax hoplites in a line. Like sword units have a hard time killing them, and if arrows and sling and like rocks, javelins, whatever, are just raining in, not killing your own troops and just the enemy.
Yeah, super
That's
OP.
A huge advantage.
Super big exploit.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad it's not out because it should be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be there. We're all in complete agreement there.
Yes.
But yeah, and also something about points that you mentioned about friendly fire points. There's a new point system, like how it rewards you while playing the game. Before, it was very, very focused on how many kills you got, how much damage you did.
Yes.
But now, kind of attributing it to more roles, even roles that you might not expect, like just holding choke points, kind of being useful to the team by supporting. I think is kind of like if you're holding archers and they're firing over you, you're kind of blocking them. I think that's kind of something that they're going to be giving you points for. Maybe not loads. You're not going to get millions of points for stopping there and helping a friendly unit, but it's better than
at least you won't have
charging off.
Right.
Right. Well, like just that idea of if you're able to hold something and you have a friendly that comes in and hammer and anvils them, you should get support because you allowed that hammer and anvil to happen, and that changed the battle dramatically. So absolutely, adding more roles in which you gain points for is super critical.
Because that's something that I always had trouble with was playing Greeks, playing hoplites, because they don't kill.
Yeah, they just have good holding power.
So you're doing really good. Like you're not really dying, but you're not really killing anyone. And then someone comes in with, say, Principes and charges into the rear of the enemy you're fighting, and they slaughter them, and they have like thousands of points, and you have like 100.
Right.
And it's like, well, that was all because of me that you got to do that, but I don't get anything for it, which is not good. But I'm glad that they're offering more ways to get points other than just straight up killing, because it made cavalry and sword units like the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was kind of the point where it rewarded people being reckless and very against the team, like by just charging to get points. And obviously being a strategic game at its heart, if you leave avenues open to the enemy, they can easily get around, kill your artillery, kill your ranged units, and then you can lose the battle just by simple attrition. Because most of your team was just blindly charging,
going after kills for points.
So it's good they're changing it and trying to focus more on rewarding people for the different roles on the battlefield, which
everything we've seen so far has really pointed towards teamwork and really emphasizing that you will win if you can work together as a team. Not YOLOing with your cav on the other end of the map, but definitely just supporting, helping flank each other, helping support each other everywhere. It's really good, and I like that because it again brings in strategy. Every Total War YouTuber, every Total War player loves that strategy aspect. So really focusing on that has helped.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Total War or Total War Arena without a strategy element on top of the kind of fast-paced kind of action that we all know and love. So definitely a good thing that. Also, one thing that they've done to, I think, significantly improve the game is the tactical map. Or the fact that the mini-map and the tactical map have kind of merged into one, rather than in previous Total War, like the general titles, you could press tab and the camera would just go right out and you could see the battlefield from kind of like more of a 2D perspective rather than a 3D. And it was great, like you being able to see, oh, my units are here, they're out of position, I need to move them. And it was okay in Arena, but most of the time you were so busy keeping an eye on everything and using your abilities and manually doing things, because in Arena you have to manually charge and you don't do it automatically like in the previous Total War titles.
Right.
It's its own thing. So having the minimap showing what you need to know is quite important, because before it didn't really show you any information, and it was basically pointless apart from showing this is what the map sort of looks like in the corner. So
yeah, pretty much.
Definitely worth it having it there, and obviously being UI, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. Like, I'm hoping in the future you'll be able to like just simply move UI elements to your own preference.
Your own personal setup. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely would. So I don't think really we've all kind of agreed on that point. It's the thing to go for.
It's definitely something I personally never used.
Yeah.
Was looking at the tab map. I never used it. I don't even use it in the actual Total War games.
I used it a lot with Arena. I've hardly ever used it for regular Total War, but I definitely did, just to see if I had some downtime, or if I just saw something out of the corner of my eye that I couldn't really focus on at the moment. I would tab real quick just to see what was going on there, see an engagement, and know I could go another direction. But definitely wasn't enough to be such a prominent feature as to keep it. So
yeah, I feel like a mini map that just shows everything is much better than a separate thing that you have to open yourself and look at.
Yeah, it kind of detracts you from the game. Like, it's
you've
got a certain pace going, a certain feel. Like, you got,
and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh,
they're like,
tab,
oh no, all right, all the hype has gone. I'm looking at a map now. It's like it kills the momentum of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that can throw you off, like in Arena, where you need to be quite aware of what's going on. So it's good. It's good that they've made that change. So yeah, move on to the next point on the list. Maps are sorted into tiers, where the simpler maps are on the lower tier scale and complex maps for higher tiers. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a new feature, but it means we can segue into the new maps that we know of in the game that have been released for public knowledge. Capitoline Hill being a low tier map, and Hadrian's Wall being a more complex map.
Yes.
So I guess just the fact that they're pretty cool. I don't know if we can actually detail what the maps are and stuff like that, because it's not properly shown.
Yeah, probably not.
So probably avoid
let's
that.
Just avoid it.
Avoid that. But we can probably.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Just the fact that Capitoline's the lower tier map, it's kind of designed for startup gameplay. And then the Hadrian's Wall is more complex, so it shows like they're trying to really work the game, the maps, and the positioning of tiers for how proficient you should be at this level, what complexities or what incomplexities you need to be able to enjoy the game to its maximum level.
Right.
I think
and like without really naming any maps, we already seen from like even the previous test, and that like some maps, all maps have like 3 lanes, like the middle and then the left and right. A lot of them were just as simple as that, but there were some maps that you could still flank on lanes. So like there was the open lane, but there were still other ways to get around. Whereas some maps, it was just you always fought in the same spots every time. So like I feel like Capitoline Hill will probably be more open, so that it's just straight up lanes. You know where the enemy is pretty much all the time. And Hadrian's Wall will probably have more.
Well, yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of non-seeability. You won't be able to see units very well until they're right around the corner in the wall. Oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, that's a good point to piggyback onto that you mentioned about not being able to see things. Is that the new Arena Commander camera, should I say, has it's come a bit closer in than the previous one. It's a lot tighter, yes. And I think there was a bit of a hubbub about that being a bad change, I think, seeing it on social media and stuff like that. But let's just weigh it up here, because obviously it changes your line of sight, so you can't see as much what's going on. You have to be really focused on the game, and it turns it into more of a kind of reactive game rather than I see that unit, he's about like 2 minutes away from me, I know what's going to happen, he's coming, I'm fine, I just wait for him, instead of like I'm closed in, I'm kind of feeling a bit tense, I don't know if someone's going to come around this corner, like it's a bit more reactive. You've got to be very alert.
Right. Well, and I think again, it's even just another factor of really wanting to focus on teamwork. You can't see as well, so you need to make sure that your flanks are secure, which means you need to know where your teammates are, and you all need to coordinate because you don't want to get surprised. So having a tighter field of view obviously means you have to rely on your teammates more, or else you're screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, like you said, you could see, well, I know that guy is, he's 30 seconds away with some cav on my left flank. I can now move over. I don't have to rely on my teammate who's back there wondering if he sees it or not. Now you have to be like, well, teammate, what's going on? You need to call out and say, hey, you got cav coming. You need to move in because I can see it, but you can't. So
it'll be a lot more important for people to defend archers and stuff as well, because if you can't see far away, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, indeed.
And it does
just adds more strategy.
Yeah, that's the point.
And I say can't see far away. I mean, of course, you're always going to be able to move the camera all over the entire map. But if you're looking at your own units and say a unit of cavalry is running right towards you and someone doesn't tell you,
right,
they'll be right on top of you before you even see them, and that's way too late. So
absolutely,
more salty range players, I think.
Right.
Well, yeah, and also the fact that with range you could easily run away because you saw them easier. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to trample those juicy blobs of archers.
That's right.
Get more points. All about the points.
Yeah. So it does like enhance the skill ceiling as well. Like really, you can focus on making this a game that's easy to get into, harder to master.
Yes.
Which is the kind of the recipe for it's like the golden rule of making a game like this, like popular in new players and experienced players. Maybe even getting to the point where there could be tournaments and all
definitely.
that.
Well, and hopefully with Wargaming, more events.
Yeah, events. Yeah,
like actual like live streamed, like events where people go to play, because and not even just that, like even more just focused events like Wargaming does with their other games. They invite people. I mean, like with World of Tanks, all the major YouTubers and stuff get to go to Tank Fest in England. Like every year.
I wouldn't mind going to an Arena Fest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with World of Tanks, you can look at the things that are actually in the game in real life because they're actually still here. But like, even if like I don't even know what they could do, but I know Wargaming will be able to host those a lot more than CA alone would be able to, which is nice.
Yeah. Yep. I think they did the Russia event for Arena's kind of re-release into the world.
Yeah.
When Wargaming took it over, obviously, and they had people kind of dressed up as Romans, I think, like full-on Lorica Segmentata, like the Centurion helmets, the Scotum shield, and the Gladiuses, like full-on kitted out, like being there, just like, well, they just stood there like glorious, like basically like nutcrackers on the stage. But it was interesting.
It was really cool.
But who knows? They could even do like reenactments, like for fun.
Yeah,
like trying to.
That's the thing. You never know. I'm sure Wargaming will have something though.
Phalanx, like all together, trying to hold these heavy Hoplon shields.
That'd be pretty legit.
But yeah, it could. There's a lot of things that they could do. Wargaming does the events, like you mentioned. So
and they have the funds to be able to, like, if they wanted to, they could make an event for the game. Like I don't know, because like I said with World of Tanks, they just piggyback on Tank Fest and do special things there. But
yeah, I think they have a full-on like Wargaming Festival, which is where Arena was re-released. So it's not just separate events; it's also they kind of come together, and they have quite large showings at Gamescom and stuff like that. They tend to really put on a big thing
and stuff too.
So I was there like 2 or 3 years ago, and there was a massive like Wargaming booth, which was just really quite impressive to see. So Arena will get there.
It'll have
its own section, I'm sure.
It'll take it a couple of years, but it'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were at E3. I think it was playable as Arena at E3.
I
think so. Sure. So you would assume that it's going to be playable at Gamescom, which is next month. Actually, it's not far away.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if anyone who's watching this wants to fly me out there, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay, believe me.
But obviously, the biggest UK games festival is EGX, and that's a month after Gamescom. So if Arena's going
there, we go. That too.
I'm already going to EGX, so hopefully Arena's going to be there as well. Looking forward to that if it does. That's kind of a bit of a segue into a different part of more the events and kind of esports and tournament gameplay, I guess. But also get back onto the game itself, I suppose. That they've actually announced that spawn points are being brought back into the closed alpha due to popular demand. So if you've not played the new build, and obviously this is not NDA knowledge now, that it wasn't there. Like it was just gone.
Yep, you're just automatically assigned.
Yeah, and that was something that was kind of like, whoa.
It's like, oh, that's not very good.
This is not what Arena is, and people told CA and they told Wargaming that, and guess what?
They changed back.
And they changed it back.
Which is always good. It's always good to have a community when they come together and do something, and then the developer listens.
Yeah, so that's
crucial for the success.
The fact that they are so adaptable to our feedback and improvements, and it's probably more important than ever to give them your feedback. Like they send out surveys, like if you play the weekends, answer them, even if you just say I like it, like just say I like it because X, even if it's I like it because I like playing Germanicus, like
I like it because it's fun points.
Well, and again, like you also have to think this is as much as this kind of style of play is new for CA from a design standpoint and everything, it's also a completely new venture for Wargaming. They haven't done this. I mean, tanks, you're talking about a single tank unit. World of Warships, it's a single warship, it's a single airplane. You have 100 units, three cards, so you're dealing with thousands of people, and so it's a whole different type of strategy than World of Tanks or any of this other stuff. It's ancient warfare, so feedback is definitely needed because this is a new venture for balancing and for abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah, balancing's a lot more interesting. It's just a lot more. It's a lot less simple because it's not just you click, shoot the gun, it hits the target. It does between this and this damage depending on how much goes through the armor or whatever. Like, it's there's a
you're now forcing your units to charge. You're now forcing your units to wall up. You're now forcing your units to do X. So, yeah. Feedback's critical. It's absolutely critical.
Any game
for the success of this
game. But if you want Arena to succeed, like just throw all the feedback you can onto the forums. Like, I wouldn't say social media because it wouldn't really get picked up, but you could probably ask them where's best to post it or whatever. But just tell them what your opinions are and try and be constructive about it.
Yeah, don't be like your game sucks.
Yeah,
like that's not.
Oh, this unit's not balanced. You're really bad at balancing. Like it's just awful, absolutely awful. I'm never playing this ever again.
Yeah. If you have a really bad experience, be constructive. Well, I played as a unit of swordsmen, and I went up against these archers, and I got
they
wrecked.
Lost. Yeah, like instead of saying and just be like say that like it's something's wrong. It needs to be fixed instead of just being like this unit's absolute garbage. I'm never going to use this ever again.
Don't be salty. Just be constructive because that's the only way that it really helps.
Keep it to a sprinkle of salt instead of the whole
tasteful,
the whole thing. Okay.
Oh, God.
On to the last couple of points of the podcast. Something that they mentioned that commander abilities are now unlocking over time.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting. And they are also customizable by spending your XP on talents, which improve the ability and also add a kind of spin of uniqueness to your commander. So, I mean, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Like, Overkill, what do you think about this?
Well, I like it in a way. It's on leveling up, and you can kind of tailor it to how you want it to be. Like if you're like, oh, I can either spend points on this ability or this ability, and it's like, well, I don't personally use this ability with the units that I like playing, so I'll kind of leave that one behind and focus on these, which I like, instead of it just being like, okay, I have to upgrade this ability now even though I don't use it.
Yeah,
So now it's just like, okay, I can just pretty much like ignore this one and buy whatever I want, which is nice because like pretty much all the commanders, there was at least like one ability that wasn't used really.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
Because I know a lot of people use Scipio for infantry or cavalry, but like they didn't. Neither side got all of his abilities. So if you wanted to play a cavalry Scipio, you'd use his cavalry abilities. If you wanted to play infantry, you'd use the other ones, which I feel it will be a nice change.
Yeah, certainly. What do you think, Havoc?
I agree. I mean, any way you can add uniqueness to a game to where everyone doesn't feel like they're playing the same Arminius, the same Vercingetorix, or the same, you know, Miltiades or whatever, just really just brings them, it makes them feel more involved, and that developers care about them because they're able to do more customization.
Yeah. Say what I think, I guess.
Well, it's just
yeah.
You're allowed to.
I mean... throw my opinion in there. I really do like the fact that your commander abilities are unlocking over time rather than all at once, because you were like, oh, I don't know these abilities. I'm used to the game. What does this do? And I'm starting to waste my points. Not waste, but if you start spending on an ability that you're not using as much or isn't the best ability for that commander, it's like
it's a waste.
You can focus on, all right, I've only got this ability. What is this? Okay, cool. I know what this is. Now I get another ability. Awesome. Right, and then I can get used to this one. And then you get the third ability, which is your bread and butter ability of the commander. So you're getting used to everything. Like games that do that are always going to be better. Instead of throwing every feature, every ability, every thing at you straight away and overwhelm the player, and then they go, "Ooh, I don't like this game." Like just ease them into it. And then by the end,
having too much to micro from the very get-go is off-putting for a lot of people.
It's just like imagine people that first ever played Miltiades and dropped shields because they didn't know what it did.
Right.
It's like, whoops.
Oh well, now my unit's gonna die horribly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad I upgraded this.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So the last point on my list of juicy secrets. They're not secrets. Visual customization, but it's not confirmed or denied, but it was mentioned. Like, what do we think? What speculations or stuff? Like, obviously we could talk about what was previously in Arena, but what do we think could improve on that or beyond? So I suppose we could start with you, Overkill.
Well, we know, like, from the last test, obviously, the previous alpha, the only things that they really had were color changes and then the cosmetic items that you could get from either testing or the Humble Bundle shield. And that was pretty much, that was it. I mean, that's fine, because, like, it's not a historical game. It's just historically based. So, like, I don't really care about changing how units look, but at the same time, I don't want them to lose what they look like. So, like, the Greeks and Roman helmets that you got from being a tester that you could put on all of the units, they weren't really, like, the Greek one was pretty, stereotypical, so that was fine. But the Roman one was, like, a dark gray kind of, I don't know, thicker helmet. It kind of looked weird. So, like, if you can just take a unit, say, like, Praetorian Guard or something, and make them look like nothing like Praetorian Guard, it kind of... It's a bit too much customization then, that it's just like there's no point to call it what it is. Instead, it should just be like Romans tier 1 to 10. You just dress them up however you want.
Right.
Yeah.
So like colors and special cosmetic items, I feel like are as much as the game would need, honestly. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, cosmetically, upgrades could change how units look, but even that can also kind of get into a historical situation, so I'm not sure. But I liked being able to change colors. Like I was fine with that.
Again, the uniqueness kind of a deal. I think it'd be, I mean, again, I definitely agree that too much customization can just get way out there. That's a lot of unnecessary time and development. But I just think it would be cool to have, especially in the higher tiers, maybe the higher the tier is, because those did tend to be more unique units. So maybe the higher tier, you get a few more unlockable customization things. I think it'd be cool to have different, like different Legion standards kind of a deal for the higher tier Romans. You do something Like, well, even had some cosmetic things. Like you could have different, for your like chosen swordsman, I think, or one of the units, you could do a sword, you could do axes, or you could do, different things like that. I think some of the archer units maybe had different types of arrows, which were used for different situations. I think you could even get better bows. I think stuff like that is really good, and also caters to uniqueness. Again, a balancing would be the key. But like I said, especially with these kinds of games, it would be really, really cool to have, just to be able to customize clothing, even just for different types of clothing, have different types of shields, even different types of swords, stuff like that would be really fun.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the fact that units did have options in the in the last test.
But even still,
yeah,
the thing was with those, if I remember correctly, it was, you started out with a sword, but if you upgraded to an axe, it was better. And then if you upgraded this, it was better.
No, some units did have, you could choose a sword or an axe. The axe did more damage, but had less attack or something like that.
There was a balance to it.
There were trade-offs, and barbarian units could have armor or like wolf pelts to do morale damage or defend themselves. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, that's good. I'm fine with that. But on a purely cosmetic level and not unit options, I feel like colors and like you said, standards, banners, stuff like that is, good. But if it's so much that it changes what the unit's supposed to look like into something completely different, then that's a bit too much. I feel.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. It shouldn't completely change the unit, as you say. We've got to think that this is sort of historical themed. It's not historically accurate. But when everyone's playing something like this, they see a Praetorian guard, like you said, and he just looks like a Praetorian. That's what Praetorians look like. You don't want to start putting on a
lime green or hot pink shields and stuff like that.
I mean, not so much that, but just switching out the helmet for an earlier Roman Legion helmet, where it's just a simple one, no plumage. Just you wouldn't really want to do that because it look both weird and less.
Completely historically
awesome, but I think the I didn't mind the colors. They were quite so cool. You could really make yours more unique. But maybe it's not so much colors that need to change. Obviously, if you have fabrics, your color is fine. But if you had armor, maybe have just different types of armor color or materials. I'm not saying bright gold shining kind of armor just to be obnoxious, but you could have yours it's just a different type of metal or just something.
It would be cool to have a veteran status armor, once you get certain to pass, it looks dented and scratched up and much more detailed, whether a fresh unit has that, polished look to it, kind of as the old. But yeah, there's definitely some ways they could change it up without going too much. Again, you don't want to spend too much time purely on cosmetics.
Yeah.
That's to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people, that's a lot of wasted effort that they could be focusing on other things.
Maybe so much wasted, but this early on, perhaps, if they've got a lot of stuff they need to do, then cosmetics should be
when the game's out.
Cosmetics are way further down the road. Everything's running functionally, and then they can start putting in some cool cosmetic things.
Yeah, a lot of longevity options do have the fact of cosmetics being a thing. If you're playing a game, you often do like the fact that your unit is unique on the battlefield. You have it in the world of games where you can have liveries on your tanks or different skins and different paint jobs and stuff that aren't completely out of historical accuracy, not completely wacky, but still make you unique. Your ship looks, other people can get that same skin, but the likelihood of seeing it on the same match is very small. So you're awesome, my units stand out. It's just something that is going to be cool to have later on down the line, and we'll be interested to see what ideas they come up with to make it good and not either too silly or just too small to even really bother with. It's kind of striking the good balance between both, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, that is us for this Arenacast. That's got through all the points I wanted to get through, and we're just literally passing the hour mark. So quite a good show there. So yeah, what we're going to do at the end of these arena casts is we're just going to basically go through from obviously right to left, like where to find us, and just go from there really. So Havoc, tell everybody where they can find you.
YouTube, HforHavoc 15, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those other things, just HforHavoc. And yeah, also I'm not gonna do that. Never mind. Haha, I'm done.
All right, Overkill, obviously.
Well, YouTube, OverkillTW for Total War, and on Twitter it's Overkill_TW.
Just to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously I'm HaxoTheHunter. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/HaxoTheHunter, YouTube/C/HaxoTheHunter YouTube. Obviously I'm on Twitter. I'll probably link all our stuff down in the description as well, so you can just click between us all and stuff, and do all that jazz. So also we could probably tack on a little bit of what we're doing on our channels, just so you know what do we do apart from being on the cast. So back to you, Havoc.
Focus on strategy games. Primarily my big things right now are Total War and Ultimate General Civil War, and then just a whole other mixed hodgepodge of things like EU4. So really focusing on strategy and grand strategy is my primary focus.
Cool.
Well, if anybody's been paying any attention to my channel for the last like month and a half, there's been nothing. I'm going to be having a video out about that, just explaining what happened and blah, 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 blah. And I'll be starting some new series, hopefully with some Paradox games and probably Total War Warhammer. And then on Twitch, I always do random campaigns and stuff. So that'll all come back. And of course, living by myself and with better internet should all be better.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm also a Total War strategy content creator. I'm currently running 3 series on my YouTube channel at the moment, which is Stellaris, Star Trek, Romulan. You've got Seeker 2 Game of Thrones Twitch export, which I'm doing with Lionheart and Jackie Fish. And the third one is a recent Ultimate Chaos Mode campaign for Total War Warhammer. Very and nice. On Twitch, kind of a bit mixture, head-to-head campaigns with Hef on a weekend, and just general sprinkled streams every now and then. So yeah, that's us 3 for this arena cast. We hope you've enjoyed. This is not going to be as regular as you might hope, because there's not a lot to talk about until the game gets further on down the line. So this might be the first one, and then it might be another couple of months before we get back together for another one with a separate guest. Although Havoc will obviously be welcome on our lovely arena cast in the future. So yeah, again, thank you for being here and being a part of this first arena cast.
I'd like to end on this, asking everybody watching, what was your least favorite arena commander during the test? Because I can say mine was Miltiades, because I never used him.
I didn't hardly use any of the Greeks, so I'll just throw that out there.
What about you? What about you, Haxo?
I'd probably say Caesar, because I wasn't a massive fan of the artillery. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So comment down below on
least favorite
all our channels for what's going on. All right. Peace.
Peace.
Bye-bye.